Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro for our documentary of the month. I have a returning special guest with me that we haven't had on the podcast for a while, but we wanted to take a look at a documentary that she chosen, something very topical, something a bit more, I don't want to say intense, but serious. And I'm glad to welcome Raven back on the show. Welcome back.
Hey, how's it going? You good?
I'm doing good, and we're glad to have you back. So,
thank you.
No problem. As you can see, guys, we're talking about the documentary called Audrie and Daisy. Now, this documentary was in the top 10 documentaries of last year. I mentioned this before. I kind of want to do more documentaries that are more accessible, that are easy to find, so you guys can actually watch them. And this is a documentary about a serious topic about rape, especially about these two young girls. Well, it's actually more than two, we'll get into that, but it's about these two young girls, one called Audrie, one called Daisy, the situation that happened to her and how it has ramifications in real life. And you know, before we even get into all that, I just want to say we're talking about a documentary that deals with a very harsh and disruptive and destructive topic, and as a man, you know, I feel a way about what's going on. And I'm so surprised that, especially with the story of what happened to these two women, that this still goes on to this day in this way. And what I mean by that is, when we get into the details of what actually happened to these women, these young ladies, I was like, this is some shit that I remember seeing back in the 90s. And I would think that we had gone past this point, especially my surprise to the level of disgust that some of these guys did to these girls. I was just like, really? We're still here, guys, in 2016, 2017. So I'll let you talk a little bit more about the documentary, and then we'll dissect it and talk about our thoughts, and just tell us what's about and what you think about it from there.
Okay, sure. So it's Audrie and Daisy. It obviously covers the topic of rape. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. We start off the story with Audrie, don't we?
Audrie and her friend Emily.
Audrie and her friend Emily.
And they actually started off, they were hosting a party themselves.
Yeah. Were they hosting it, or did they go to the party? I thought they went to a party, but I could have that wrong.
I believe that they were hosting it, but I could be wrong as well, but not like it really matters. And I do have the notes here, so I'll quickly summarize.
Yeah.
Audrie, she got put upstairs.
Yeah.
She was led to a bed by one of the people that was over at her house or the other person's house. And during this incident that she can't remember because she was drunk as well, someone marked her body.
Yep.
With all these crazy things we'll get into. And she woke up later and she found out that without her knowledge, not only was she sexually assaulted, but they took pictures as well.
They took pictures. Didn't they do like a video camera where they actually filmed her as well? So it was actually kind of circulating around. That was my understanding as well.
Yeah.
It's almost like revenge porn type thing, where effectively people get hold of your images, or they film you whilst you're engaging in, well, you're either consensually engaging in sexual acts but you don't realize you're being filmed, or you're not consenting in sexual acts and you don't realize you're being filmed, or pictures are being taken care of you, and then they pass it around the internet so for other people to see.
I think the only difference between revenge porn is that I think they were already your girlfriend and you get revenge on them because they did you wrong or you were upset with them. So, after you break up, then you use pictures you had in your relationship in the past. So that's kind of revenge porn. True. This is just fucked up. There's no word for this. This is just...
No, it's fucked. It's fucked up.
I'll just quickly jump onto the second, because this documentary is broken into two. There's two kind of rape cases, one with Audrie, and the second one was with her Daisy and her friend Paige. And with and with that situation, Daisy, she was having fun with her friend, and they got drunk, and then they actually went to another friend's house with these group of boys in a basement. And basically, when these two girls went there, they got split apart, and then Daisy was taken into another room. And then she was sexually assaulted as well. But with her, after these group of guys sexually assaulted her, they dumped her in front of their parents' house in the cold, and they just tried to distance themselves. And I believe, again, they took pictures, which I've circulated in school as well. But that's just a brief. I just wanted to briefly line out what happened. They were both assaulted different things happen to these girls, by the way, because
Well, basically, in the Audrey case, the first case, sorry, the people, they knew them again. And also in the second case with Daisy, the situation that took place was basically enforced by her older brother's best friend. So in both cases, you've got the reinforcement of young, well, not just the case of the young, just young women, girls, being assaulted, raped by people that they know. So it reinforces the whole sort of statistic that in the majority of cases, women are sexually assaulted or raped by people that they know and people that they should be able to trust. So that's what was really intriguing for me again. And also that I think in both cases, especially in the Daisy case, Daisy and her friend Paige, they were both below the age, they were both like, what, 14?
14, correct.
14. So Daisy's older brother, who's like, I think, what, 18? Is it 17, 18?
Yeah.
His best friend is there raping his best friend's younger sister.
Yeah. He's like the ringleader. He was the ringleader,
basically.
Yeah. Well, let me, all right, let me overrule this. Coming away from the documentary, I thought to myself, I was surprised at the level that these fucking arsehole teenagers went to these kids, especially going to the first one, Audrey. When I heard that they marked her body, I thought, okay, that's kind of juvenile. But they were writing, they drew like arrows to her vagina, you know, fuck here, and, you know, drew shit on her back like fuck me here. They marked her, they tattooed her in the most, I was like, I couldn't even come up with this shit in my worst nightmares. This is some, man, I'm sorry, man, I was thinking only in America have I seen this kind of bullying. When you watch bullying in these classic, these classic, I don't know, high school dramas and stuff like that, you always see them beating up children, dunking heads in the toilets. But this kind of rape and the kind of thing this kid done with her, look, man, I was like, I cannot believe these kids thought it was funny, or, you know, and on top of marketing, they sexually assaulted her, and then they passed it in class. And you know what, man, all of that was horrendous and horrible. And the thing that really, like, watching the first half of this really just made me feel sick was this happened so fast. The girl actually killed herself.
She did. She killed herself, and also in between her, obviously waking up and finding out what had happened to her. Yeah. Waking up and finding out that feeling different, so to speak, and trying to ascertain exactly what had happened to her, and realizing that all this stuff was being passed around and people had seen it. She was also people were also creating fake Facebook accounts and contacting her on Facebook, and she's, you know, kind of calling her slut, calling her all sorts of names. So then you got like the internet sort of bullying aspect of it as well.
Sure.
And as you know, Donald Wanda said, she committed suicide. She killed herself. Like, she actually that's it. She gave up.
I think the thing that really burned me, I'm sorry, I know the rape was bad enough, it was horrible, but she killed herself so fast. There was no chance for her parents to even console her. She was, I don't want to say she was so sensitive, but she took this so harshly, so quickly, she couldn't even deal with it for like 2 days. I believe like 2 days when it's happening, she hung herself. Her parents didn't even have time to, you know, this wasn't a month later, this wasn't a year later, this was within a week. The girl just couldn't deal with the humiliation and the embarrassment, and she just killed herself. And I was just like, you know, I couldn't even imagine being a father and I didn't even have a chance to console my daughter. And I just wanted to kill these guys. I just was like, and look, I will play devil's advocate, and I will say, you know, I know that even kids are dumb and they make mistakes and all that stuff, but she's dead.
She's dead.
And the thing these guys did, the writing on her, the sexual assault is enough for just to say, get rid of these kids. But the writing on her, the defaming her, the passing it around, these guys are fucking scum. This first set, I think they kind of got off as well. I think they got like 30 to 45 days, a kind of suspended sentence that they served on the weekends only.
Weekends only, yeah.
And the girl is dead.
See, for me, what it also highlights again, I was so disgusted. I was absolutely disgusted. In places, I kept sort of pausing and switching off the television and effing and blinding. And I do believe anyone who saw me when I watched it about 3 weeks ago, who was on Facebook, they would have seen my statements of me cussing, effing and blinding about this documentary. And part of it, aside from the obvious rape, is effectively the slut shaming. Women are slut shamed. Like, if we're not having, like, and this is just with consensual sex, if we're not having enough sex, we're called frigid. If we are having supposedly too much sex, we're called sluts. And if it's not consensual, again, we're called sluts. Like, so either way, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. And in this case, obviously, it wasn't consensual. She didn't give her consent. You know, anyone that feels the need to try and have intercourse or do whatever to somebody who is fast asleep, passed out, is absolutely just disgraceful. And somebody lost their life because of it, and it's just awful.
I can only speak for myself, of course, but why would you ever? I don't understand, like, pedophilia and raping a girl on the same level to me. I'm sorry, I'm just very black and white. To me, it's like, why would you see it with a girl that's unresponsive, that's not there? Why would you just? She's not her mental facility is not there. She's not enjoying it. You're basically having sex with a dummy, and you're ending your life. Are you that fucking horny? And I know as guys, you know, our hormones can be out of control, and you know, when we're young, we just want to have sex like that. But a girl being unconscious, I mean, you engineering the situation anyway. Even if you didn't engineer it and you walk to a room and the hottest girl you've ever seen in your life is there and she's, you know, half naked on your bed and you didn't do anything, and I was as horny as fuck, I still wouldn't do it. But these guys engineered all of this shit, made it happen, then made a joke out of a. Well, they made it. Well, they must have thought it was a joke to spread the picture. Like, yeah, guy, I fucked this girl. Look what I did, guys. Look what I did. I'm a don. You know, look, I marked her and all that other macho bullshit. And then she killed herself, and then I made the mistake, or they want to sweep it under the rug. But anyway, let me move on to the second story, because I do have I don't want to ramble too much, because I want it to be coherent. And I know a lot of people will be like, I don't want to watch depressing shit. I will explain why I recommend people watching this. I will in a minute, but I want to move on to the second girl, because is it Daisy? The second, yeah. Like I said, this documentary doubles the rape. I don't want to make a joke about it, but you know, this is two stories. And the second girl, I will say now, she didn't commit suicide, but she did attempt it. She even says it in the documentary. She did attempt it. Now with this one, this is
hardcore. Yeah.
This second one. Now I'm gonna be very open-minded and try to be even critical. The girl says she was drunk before. Then, of her own volition, she went to a party with a group of guys. So she knew how many guys were her and her friend, where they were drinking some more. So in my mind, being an arsehole, I'm like, come on, man, why would you do this to yourself? But there's a double standard to this that I will backtrack on in a minute. But she went there drunk, and you know, she got assaulted. And there's a part of me that's like, you know, fuck these guys. There's another part of me that's like, you know, women should know better to put themselves in this position. Now, I'm going to be hated for saying that, but this is what I will say the double standard comes in. We don't live in a world where women can do the same thing as men. And I don't mean to be a social justice, a SJW, a social justice warrior, but we don't live in that world where women, you said this already, can get drunk to their tits up and just do whatever they want and be like the Hangover. Guys can do that. It's socially accepted for a guy to drunk off his mind to do the craziest shit. Women cannot do that. And unfortunately, I don't want to criticize this girl for just thinking, why can't I get drunk? Why can't I do what boys do? Because honestly, there's nothing wrong with thinking that way. And for me to judge her saying she should know better, she's a woman, it's sad that is the fact of the matter, which I still stand on that subject. But on the second hand, for her to think, why can't I just hang out with some guys and be drunk? The fact that women can't think that way because shit like this happens is really sad. And it shows me that things haven't really changed. It's like women still it's not balanced. They still can't be men. We're still not on the same level because they have to worry about their safety because it's just how the social norms are. And I don't know why that is. I still don't understand why women, it's a new age way of thinking. I will say that because the alpha male me would say, no, women should be more safe and they should be protected. We should look after women. But we're in a new age now where women do want to be treated equal as men. But unfortunately, these are the kind of thing that can happen that reminds you that we don't live in that world where things are really equal.
But also, don't forget, the fact is, this happened when both her and her friend were 13 and 14. They're not even women, they're girls, man.
Oh, well,
like, in all incentive purposes, that's really, for me, that's more like, only because the boy's only so many years older than them. But if he had been, like, even a few more years older than them, really, that would have been paedophilia. Because at the end of the day, they were both 13 and 14. So they're not even in this country are they seen as, like, they're not even women, they're girls, they're young girls. And I should think, from her thinking, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the times when I was in my teens and I got drunk at the age of 14, 15 with people who are my age. And even if I was tipsy around people who were, say, friends of, like, I don't know, my older cousins who I might have been drunk around of, who happened to be male. So I think her thinking was, my brother's best friend, who I've known for X amount of time, is texting me and saying, come over and hang. And to her, that wouldn't really be any different from when her brother and him are hanging over at her house, or maybe she's been there before.
Right.
So the most tragic thing about it, even more so than it is already, is the fact that, yet again, to reinforce that statistic, somebody she knew took full fucking advantage of her. And I just think it's ridiculous, it's disgraceful, it's disgusting. And it's the reason why we now have those bloody, I don't know if you've seen them in the cinema over here, I don't know if they get them in America, but we have those, if a girl is passed out, it isn't consent.
Yeah.
If a girl is saying no, it isn't consent. We have to have those types of commercials because so many males believe that if a girl isn't saying no, she's consenting and saying yes, even if she isn't verbally saying it. And it's really shocking that we have to have those advertisements, and these are those reasons why. And what was even more vexing about the Daisy case for me was the fucking policeman.
I was about to get into that. Now, the thing with the documentary is that the rape, there's been thousands of rape cases all over. That isn't the only thing that makes the documentary stand out. The fact is the aftermath, the fallout of the repercussions of what has happened to the assailants after the case. And the funny thing about the documentary is most of the people that were the rapists, most of the kids that came forward, they admitted they're kind of guilty, but the law and some silly politics, like I think in the Daisy case, one of the sons was related to the sheriff of the town or the politician or something. So
he's related to effectively like a lord or somebody that effectively gives a shitload of money or donates a shitload of money to the town, and he was also part of the football team, and football is a huge thing in that particular town. So therefore, because of those kind of politics, they couldn't get them on that, and the policeman basically just fobbed it off and saw it that they're kids, that's what kids do.
And to me, it seemed like the community followed suit with the sheriff, because the girl, as you said in the last one, with Audrie, it was one thing, and it ended very badly. It ended, the worst way it could possibly end, with her dying. With this one, to my surprise, and what makes the documentary surprising again, the whole community basically was like, if the sheriff are like, these guys not guilty, then they're not. Fuck you, you're a liar. And she got verbally and cyber attacked online that she's a liar. Her whole family, even her brother, who basically was another victim because this is my sister, he got ostracized, and the whole family, they had to fucking move.
They had to move. They had, I think, did they not burn their house down, or they had shit thrown to, because they'd moved because the dad had tragically died in a car accident, so they'd moved to that town. Then all that shit kicked off in that town, and they also had people throwing things, spraying things on their house and trashing things and throwing things into the house and slut shaming the Daisy and all sorts of things. I just how can you justify that? And obviously because it made news in America as well, and people were saying the townspeople were saying how basically her false fake accusations were giving the town a really bad name.
Everything
she'd done. And I'm just what? What? couldn't believe it.
They made it sound like because she wasn't getting the result she wanted, and she kept on pushing the police and the law to keep on reseating the case. They were like, this bitch, we already said that these guys are not guilty. Now you keep on pushing it, you're making us look bad, you're a liar. Like I said, people didn't care about the facts. People didn't care that the DNA showed the guys basically admitted it. But as soon as they weren't convicted, the town was like, look man, they weren't convicted, let's move on. These girls' lives, it doesn't matter. They weren't convicted, why can't she let it go? And you know, like you said, it was a football town. These guys were in the football, and they started. You know, funny enough, the documentary started to make the guys, the guys, the assailants, look like victims. Like, you know, the guys they kind of learned the lesson, and because the guys are being interviewed well, they try to make them remorseful or something. Well, not really remorseful, but kind of like, why can't they just let it go? Look, man, this is why people need to see this documentary. And I'll make it even easier for you. The people that need to see this documentary are the people in the age group. This needs to be mandatory screening for high schoolers.
Yeah,
that's why that you guys listen to this. You're probably older. If you're a teen, if you're in this age, you need to see this, because these girls, at the end of the day, they did get together. The girls, the surviving girls, of course, the girls that were raped, and they came together. And at the end of the documentary, you know, it tries to end on the positive note where women that have suffered through this before, and there's more women that the documentary doesn't focus on, that showed you there's other young girls. There's other young girls that have been through this, that have been sidelined by the law, and they're getting together to create a foundation. I do apologize, I don't have the name of it right now, but they're trying to raise awareness for this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, if this was my sister, if this was my daughter, if this was my cousin, I would be absolutely livid. I would be out of my mind. I probably would have fucking killed somebody. And this is another reason why I don't want a daughter, because they have to, they have to know, because there's so much we have to look out for with a girl. And I'm not saying this at welfare. I love women. I love girls. You know, women give us life. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm just saying that I'm not talking about the wage gap. I'm not talking about SJW. I'm just saying, in terms of safety, it's not equal.
No, it's not.
And as a man, like, if I had a daughter, I'll be over like a hawk. I would probably be crafting her so much. The only other biased thing I could say is, again, I hate to shit on my Americans, but I only see these kind of extremes in America. Now, rape does happen all over the world. I'm not saying that. These particular cases, these extremely unjust, crazy cases, maybe I'm very narrow-sided and I only pay attention to America more, but this was one I was like, for real? America? Was it Florida or wherever it was, or Texas? I was just like...
It was, one of those small town, I thought, I got the vibe it was kind of the mid-America, the middle band bit of America, but... like somewhere, it wasn't Charlotte, but somewhere like Charlotte, like that kind of thing. Or is it Mississippi or Minnesota? I can't remember. In all honesty, I don't want to put the wrong town on the map.
It's okay. We don't need to be precise. All I want to say is, this documentary, I'm not going to talk about the visuals. It's not that kind of documentary. It's not a documentary where the superficial things matter. It's shot fine enough. It's shot. It's some real talk. This is a real story. This happened to real people. One girl ended her life very quickly. I think that really wrong with me most. It happened so quickly. That first part of the documentary of Audrie was enough for me. I was like, that's it. This could happen to someone and there won't be enough time. There won't be enough time to save someone. Just ruins people's lives. And the other girl that did survive, it still ruined her and her family. It ruins families. It ruins people's lives. And guys, listen to me, you young horny fuckers. So I'm not generalizing. There's a lot of guys that don't do this shit. But if you're a teenager and you're fucking horny, get a fleshlight. Yeah, okay? Get some jack off. Do something else. Don't attack women. Watch porn. Watch hentai. I don't care. I'm sorry. The alternatives are better.
Yeah.
The alternatives are just release your fucking tension. If you like a girl, make her your girlfriend or date her. Don't fucking abuse women. Shit. Actually, this whole discussion, I've just ignored the underage shit, because that just is a whole other level as well. You don't give a fuck how old they are as well. Just die. That's I don't even want to go there, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that. You fucking some underage shit as well. Now I know they're teenagers as well, so it's different. And maybe I shouldn't be so critical, but you know what you're doing. You're still horny as fuck.
13, man.
You're
13. That's just wrong.
Yeah, I know girls look different now. They're overdeveloped, all that stuff. But you know what, guys, ruin your life as well. These guys in the documentary, their names won't be forgotten. This documentary has won awards. I think it's in the. I think it got nominated for Women's Guild Award. It's actually in the animated Annie Awards because they use animation over the assailants, which was very creative. Actually, that was actually one of the good parts of the superficial part of the documentary. The presentation, that was very creative. I thought that was very clever. The documentary, this is a hard to watch documentary, but young kids, I will show my nephew this 100%. 100. When he's 11, I will say.
I think it needs to be part of the sex education because I think there is so much stuff that people always go on about penis and vagina and intercourse, which they still don't really teach properly in schools. I don't even remember them teaching me properly in primary school.
Neither me, yeah, same.
But there is so much. There's men's health, there's women's health that should be taught as part of sex education. And I'm sorry, but rape and all that shit should be taught also as, part of sex education. It should be, because people wander around, even some women out there wander around with this whole concept of, well, for a woman to get raped, she has to be pinned against the wall by a complete stranger and he has to be beating the shit out of her. And it's not true, because most cases, the woman knows the person that is raping her. And it's a blurred line, but it literally is as simple as the woman says no, or she's pushing the guy off, and he's coming onto her, and then he's forcing, and then he's kind of, instigating, and she's reluctant, or she's not reluctant, maybe she's more forceful. That's rape. Like, if she's saying no in any shape or form, and you're going forward, it's rape. There is no, maybe there's none. Unless you've actually had the conversation where you're coming up with a safety word if you're into that kind of BDSM shit, and she says the safety word. But even after she said the safety word, if you're still going forward with it, then that's rape. Like, it's really straightforward. It's very, very clear cut.
I will say this. I don't like the word rape anymore, because everything you just said reminds me of how people don't like to define rape, because people see rape as this thing. Sexual assault is very simple. You're fingering a girl and she's unconscious, you're sexually assaulting her.
You're assaulting her.
And these guys sexually assault these girls. They admitted it. And, these guys, they were horny as fuck. They not only sexually assault these girls, they defamed them. Made them make jokes to them and destroy their lives. And, they get to most of the girl that killed herself, the guys to live with that. I can tell they were somewhat remorseful, but at the end of the day, they didn't get what they deserve. And they deserved the full extent of the law, the punishment, and they didn't get it. They got off lightly for whatever reason. And that's a crime. So the best thing that could come out of this documentary is, again, sadly, another cautionary tale. And my young men, little boys or whatever, learn from this. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. And I just say to young women, or women of all ages out there, just be careful and
I'm sorry.
Be aware. Be careful, be aware, not because you know the person, not because you know them. Please don't make that mistake. Just be careful, be aware, and just stick to your guns and say, and enforce and do whatever it is you need to do to get the person off you if they're making any moves. But just more than anything, be safe. Try and be safe and just be aware. That's it. And everybody, male and female alike, needs to watch this video. It's not even a gender thing, I don't think. I think everybody needs to be educated on this, because I
really want the younger generation to watch this more than the older, though, to be honest with you, because they think they can get away with shit because they're teens. And I think that was another element to the psyche of these kids. They thought because they were teens, they could just hide behind the veneer of bullying. Because, bullying can sharp some people. Bullying, they want to keep quiet, so no, high school ain't going to save you. Your status as a high school football player ain't going to save you. You need to watch this shit young, a bit younger. If I had to put age on this, and I know this might get me into trouble, I'll say watch it at like 11, 12. 11.
That's what I would say. I would say 11, 12, definitely, because people still, a lot of people, I know, like parents get really funny about their kids. Oh, but they're only 11. No.
No.
It needs to happen.
In this day and age with the internet, with free porn, all this shit, sorry, the bar's getting lower. The bar's getting lower with puberty, sexual intention, sexual exploration. So we have to lower the bar just for safety preservation or what have you. So, but again, as Raven said, I think this is I want to say a must watch, but more for the younger growing up. But guys, if you were surprised I reviewed this one, I'm sorry. It was highly recommended. It was highly rated. It was one of the top best documentaries for 2016, and that's because of the shock factor. And as I said in the very beginning, just hearing what these guys did, the level they went to, they didn't just sexually assault them, they defamed the girls, and it's just like, really, man, that shit was meant to be funny. All right, man, just catch a bullet. You know, I know you're young, but still, you know, you served the punishment, and they didn't get the punishment. So I'm rambling. That's enough. I think I got to leave it there, guys. Raven, thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, I mean, one thing I would like to say, especially because of the police officer's attitude in Daisy's case, I am concerned. Watching this, it did make me think, supposing there are other people out there who have kids, the kids whose parents, maybe mom or dad or both, who have the same attitude as their police officer. So like, what are they teaching their kids? Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I think it's maybe, in terms of that kind of documentary, and should be shown to, I just think, anybody from the age 11 and up, because I do think that there are people out there are people my age, male and female alike, who have this attitude of, well, it's not rape if it's this, or it's not sexual assault if it's this. Do you know what I mean? And I think, no, it is. Yeah. Like, you need to be educated. So that's my only, like, that was my main thing that came across from that. It was like, wow, so if he's thinking like this and he's a police officer, like, how do we know that those boys' parents don't think the same thing as that police officer? Do you know what I mean? Like how do we know that there aren't people walking around who have kids who have that opinion? For
argument's sake, I already know your answer, but if that was your son and you found your son did something like that, what would you do?
I think someone would have to lock me up. Someone would actually have to lock me up because I actually kill my kid.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'd actually kill my son. I think I would kill my kid. Like, seriously, because I don't take that shit lightly. So if I found out my kid was the aggressor or in any shape involved in that, man, seriously, serious punishment. I think someone would actually have to come along and lock me up, because I don't fuck around with that crap. I know too many women, unfortunately, who've been through that experience.
We never got the parents, you know, we never got the side of the assailant's parents. It's not that kind of document. There's no need. But again, even if they did feel the way, what can you do? It's your child. I know some parents will say, you know, I would just try to forgive my child and beat the shit out of them. I would say I wouldn't kill my child, but I'll beat the shit out of them. You know, and I might stick something in their ass too, so they know how it feels. But I don't know, man. I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit, because, you know, God forbid you're ever in a situation where something like that happens in your life. You're not the victim, but you're just, you know, someone, or you're in a situation where someone let you down. They did something like that, because that can happen.
Yeah, it can do.
All right, well, that's that. Thank you. We're going to take a little breather, guys. If you've watched this documentary, let us know in the comments down below. Again, we do monthly documentaries every month. Raven, I'm going to have you on for something a bit lighter next time, because you were on Hot Girls Wanted before, intense. Now Audrie and Daisy, intense. I'm going to be a bit fair. I'm not going to call you for intense all the time. I'm going to find something for you later this year. Let's just, you know, lighten things up a little bit with you.
But to be fair, I did pick Audrie and Daisy, and to be fair, these are really important topics, and I don't mind talking about them because, you know, they hit a nerve. It's about women, you know, trust me, I know women in all sorts of areas. So yeah, it you know, they're important topics to me, so I don't mind talking about it. But yeah, definitely up for coming on again for something lighter, you know. It's all good.
We'll hold you to it, guys. Again, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. And if you can check the annotations on the screen, YouTube knows what you want to see on our channel. We would appreciate it. Guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.